Hello everyone, this is Ed Park from ATMS Logistics. When importing into the US, one of the most misunderstood area is customs valuation. Many importers assume we just declare the invoice value. CIF price is the customs value. Transfer price is automatically acceptable. But valuation is not that simple. Today, we'll break down the U.S. Customs valuation criteria, how U.S. Customs and Border Protections determine durable value, and how you can protect yourself from the post-entry audit exposure. In today's video, I'll explain in detail the individual elements that are included in transaction value. We will continue to upload more in-depth video on various import-related topics. So please stay tuned and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Let's dive into today's topic. When determining the price of goods, there are basic components such as raw materials, labor costs, overhead, interest, profit, and other expenses. Similarly, when U.S. Customs determine the customs value, there is also basic standard, and that is the transaction value. In simple terms, the dutiable or transaction value refers to the total amount paid or payable by the importer to exporter for the imported goods. As we'll see shortly, it generally includes the price actually paid for the product itself, assist, free of charge item provided by the importer, packing costs, freight and insurance, royalties and license fees, and other dutiable additions. Since the product purchase price is already familiar to most of you, we're focusing on other components today. First, let's talk about assist. An assist refers to any item or service provided by the importer to the exporter at free of charge or at a discounted price for use in producing the imported goods. Examples include raw materials, parts, or components necessary for production. However, it can also include molds, tools, dies, equipment, engineering, design work, or packaging material supply at free of charge. In case of engineering and design works are concerned, if they were done in the US, they are not a part of the dutiable value. They become a dutiable value if they were done outside the US. Please keep that in mind. Please make a note that an assist must be apportioned over the quantity of goods produced. If an assist such as a mold worth $100 is to use produce 1,000 units and only 100 units out of 1,000 units were exported to the US, the assessed value to be added is only $10, which is 1/10 of $100 worth of mold. If only part of the material were supplied at free of charge, for instance, $10 worth out of the $100 total, then only free portion of $10 is dutiable. Please refer to videos on assist for more details. Next, packaging materials and labor can also be dutiable. If export packaging materials used for shipments are not included in the product price, they must be added to the customs value. Examples include boxes, pallets, crates, or form. If the packaging labor cost for assembling, packaging, or preparing goods for the shipment not included, in the product price, they too must be added to the transaction value. For example, if $300 were spent on packaging materials and labor that are not part of the invoice price, then $300 must be added to the dutiable value. Conversely, if those costs were already included in the invoice, then no additional duty applies. Freight and insurance may or may not be dutiable depending on where they occur. We can divide them into three segments. First, within the exporting country, freight and insurance from the seller's factory to the port of export are dutiable. Second, between export and import port, international freight. The freight and insurance from the port of export to the U.S. port of import are dutiable unless they are separately itemized on the commercial invoice. If they are clearly listed as a separate charges, they can be excluded from the dutiable value, offering a legitimate duty saving opportunity. Third, within the U.S. Freight and insurance after arrival in the U.S. to the final destination in the U.S. are not dutiable. Please find a link to our related video on how freight and insurance affect customs value. Royalties and license fee. Royalties or license fee paid by the importers as a condition of sales of the imported goods are dutiable. However, payments not directly related to the imported good, such as U.S. marketing or distributing costs, are not dutiable. For instance, if importer pays a 3% royalty on the product's price to use a brand name, then 3% increase the dutiable value. There are other items that may be subject to duty. First, commissions or brokerage fee paid by the importer to an agent except for bona fide buying commissions are dutiable. Second, proceeds or rebate the importer pays back to the seller after resales are the same case. Third, materials or service that contribute to production but were not included in the assist calculation should be also factored into the transaction value. Lastly, payments made by the importer on behalf of the seller, such as overseas inspections or testing costs that should have been covered by the seller at a dutiable value. Before we wrap up, let's highlight a few practical points. Always maintain a clear understanding of which party bears which cost during the transaction in order to clarify the financial responsibility while to capture the accurate transaction value. Ensure the commercial invoice clearly distinguishes between dutiable and non-dutiable items. For related party transactions, such as between a parent company and its branch, ensure transfer pricing documentation is properly prepared as they cannot be random numbers. Report all information accurately to U.S. Customs to avoid penalties or additional duties. Today, we reviewed the key components included in the transaction value, which forms a foundation for determining U.S. Customs duty. We will continue to provide more detailed videos on various import-related topics in the future. So please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notification. If you have any questions or need assistance, feel free to contact us via the email shown on the screen. We'll be happy to help. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again in the next video. Have a great day.